Crisis Radio, Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Now we're looking at the Tobin tax, the Wall Street sales tax. If you didn't like the bailout, it means you didn't like the federal government giving money to Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan, and Citibank. So if you didn't like the bailout, then you're going to like the Tobin tax, which is clawing back that money and more over time, and using that for the purposes of maintaining civilization. And if you don't like the Tobin tax, then we ask, what in God's name do you like? If you don't want the bailout, then you better like the Tobin tax, or you are basically out of this world because you're not relating to the main issue, which is Wall Street. You're either for them or against them. With the bailout, you're for them, and with the Tobin tax, you're against them. And if you're not against them, then you will be descending into the underworld at a very rapid rate. And there's no way around the issue. I don't say I prefer to be anti-government. That's not going to cut the mustard. The enemy is in Wall Street, and the problem with the government is that it's controlled by Wall Street. So fight Wall Street or be damned. That's the essential imperative of our time. Now, some people in the British Labour Party understand this. For a long time now, the polls over the last months have been saying that the British Labour Party, because of the multiple crimes of Tony Blair, going back to the Iraq War and various assassinations and God knows what, that the British Labour Party also, because of the crimes of Gordon Brown, the instigator of the worldwide bailout mania and fad, that they were doomed and that they would get thrown out. And ultimately that would happen, except now, possibly, a question mark has come into that equation because now of the attempt of various people in the Trade Union Federation of Great Britain, the TUC, Trades Union Congress, and the Labour Party left, being joined by people from the Liberal Democratic Party as well as people from the Conservatives. I had a few odd Tories coming in there too, which is understandable, coming in for what they call the Robin Hood tax. Now here's what I recommend. Go and look at Robin Hood tax. Put that on a search engine, Robin Hood tax, and you will go to the website of this campaign. And what you will see there is this guy, Bill Nye, N-I-G-H-Y. N-I-G-H-Y. He's a famous British actor. You will have seen him in various movies. I understand he's going to appear in the next Harry Potter, whatever that is. So this is a person of some note. And he dramatizes a conversation with a finance oligarch in the city of London, where the finance oligarch is trying to dismiss and poo-poo the idea of a Robin Hood tax, Tobin tax, Wall Street sales tax, security transfer tax, but is forced then to admit that there is no reason in equity, fairness, economic justice, or any other conceivable technical reason why this can't be done, and actually forced to concede that it would have many, many positive features. And you'll see there a list of the people who have supported this. It now includes, as of last weekend, the Archbishop of Canterbury. The Archbishop of Canterbury being an important person in the British oligarchy. Inside the ruling elite, the Archbishop of Canterbury is certainly a person of some authority, right? This is basically the head of the state-sponsored Church of England, of course, with the Queen being the actual head of it. He's the one who runs it from day to day. So we have a whole bunch of trade unions. We have the International Metal Workers Federation. That includes the UAW, the International Association of Machinists, the Communications Workers of America. It's sort of the militant international trade union body. They're for it. These groups in the European Parliament are for it, and so forth. You can see that the hope is, by the people in the British Labour Party, that if they can somehow get this thing launched, they can get enough popularity to save themselves. That's obviously their immediate goal. There's a poll that 80% of British adults want a tax on the City of London, i.e. the equivalent of Wall Street. The big banks, the hedge funds, the counting houses, the financial parasites. Let them pay. Let them pay something. Now, this is growing. You can see the website. You can see there's a website which is quite similar in German called Steuer gegen Armut. If you can read German, Steuer gegen Armut, tax against poverty, you'll find the same thing, and you'll even find the same dramatization, the same little skit with a couple of German actors doing it, with this time with the Brandenburg Gate and the Reichstag building in Berlin in the background. So this is all getting quite a bit of exposure. The British election will be held now within months. And here's the thing. If we see the British Labour Party either saving themselves from total defeat or at least minimizing their losses by making this Tobin tax, Robin Hood tax, an issue in the campaign, this will get the attention of the desperados here in the Democratic Party of the United States, because whether they pass Obamacare or not, and we hope that they don't, but if they do or if they don't, their situation will still be the same. They will be desperately looking for economic populist street creds. You're going to see the Republicans coming out driving pickup trucks, wearing plaid shirts, chewing tobacco with pork rinds and jelly beans, and shooting moose from helicopters. You're going to see an orgy of cultural populism from our dear demagogic reactionary Republican friends. So what are the Democrats going to do? The only thing they can do, most of them can't do those things. They can't get across with a plaid shirt. Imagine Pelosi coming in a plaid shirt, and she's not going to be part of this. But the average rank and file Democratic House member in the Northeast, the Midwest, into California and such places, they need economic populist street creds. How do you get it? You go with the Tobin tax. Again, the AFL-CIO is for it. Robert Kuttner is for it. Jesse Jackson is for it. You've essentially got the key parts of labor, the black community, liberal intellectuals, theoreticians, and others, think tankers in Washington, who are now for this. And, of course, more than any article or campaign of articles or any kind of press campaign, if they see it work for the British Labour Party left, then they will conclude that it could work here too. Now, naturally, there are a lot of problems with the Robin Hood tax that it's brought up. First of all, it is brought up. It's not clear in many ways whether it is a national tax or whether it is a supranational tax. Suffice it to say, we here are for the national tax. We want that money for Washington, and we want the money for the state capitals, half and half. Half goes to Washington, half goes to the state capitals. They talk about it as something that's going to deal with global warming. Well, global warming is a fraud. On the other hand, in Europe, it's hard to get by with anything less than global warming, given the ideological decadence that has occurred. Everything depends on how you pitch this. If you mean by dealing with global warming to build modern nuclear reactors and modern fast rail, that's fine. Then you're reducing the carbon footprint if you insist on putting it this way. But you're not creating harm. You're actually creating something good. If, on the other hand, you mean these idiotic green jobs and various kinds of flim plans, then that's no good. So that's the bad part. We want it as a national tax, and we'll hear a few more things on this in a minute.